So we have said that the moment one is addicted to a product, he is likely to continue buying that product even if the price has increased. But one who is not addicted will not have to buy if the price increases. So with addiction, you are going to have inelastic demand. With no addiction, no habit, you are going to have elastic demand. Someone who is not used to taking the alcohol or the cigarettes, if you increase the price slightly, you forego it and leave it. But if he is addicted, at whatever price you increase, he may reduce just a bit. One who has been taking 8 sticks of cigarettes may decide to take 7 or 6 when the price has gone up, but will not abandon it. Whereas one who has been, say, just trying to learn how to take cigarette, is going to abandon it the moment the price increases. And the number 9 is the time period. Time period also determines the price elasticity of demand. What do we mean by time period? In economics, we have 2 periods. We have what we call the short run and the long run. Short run is that short period before many adjustments can be made on either production or consumption. That one we call short run. Now that one, in the short run, even if you increase the price, there is a tendency for someone to continue buying in the short run because you don't have alternative. You don't know that you have another alternative for that product. So the demand tends to be inelastic. The demand is inelastic. In short run, what we call SR, short run, the demand tends to be inelastic. The demand tends to be inelastic in the short run. While in the long run, the demand tends to be elastic. Why? Because you have got various alternatives. You have learned various alternatives. You have known that I can also buy from another source. It is cheaper this way, because in the long run, you have learned all the ups and downs of everything that is going on. But in the short run, you are not yet used. That's why when it is still short run, people tend to overcharge. But as time goes by, they reduce the price because they know that now people have known how the trend moves. So that one determines the time period when you are buying or you are selling something will determine the elasticity of demand. And you have said in the short run, demand tends to be inelastic. In the long run, demand tends to be elastic. That's what you are going to find in a real situation. Then we have number 10. Factor number 10. Factor number 10 is the complementary goods. Complementary goods. What do we mean by complementary goods? Complementary goods normally have inelastic demand. When price increases, these goods are for sale. We say the complementary goods are goods which are used together. You have, say, for example, vehicle and fuel. We have gun and bullet. Now, these commodities, they are used together. You have wheat flour cooking oil, wheat flour, and the cooking oil. And the cooking oil. Now, when these two commodities move together, if you increase if this one remains constant and there is an increase in the price of fuel, it will have elastic demand. People are not going to drive. The demand is going to reduce because the price of this commodity has increased. And if you lower the price, it will have an inelastic demand. That means you're going to have vehicle and fuel, they must be used together. So any change in the price of one will affect even the demand for another. And that is what we call complementary commodities. So elasticity of demand is also determined by the nature of the commodities. We looked at the substitutes, and now we are looking at the complementary goods. So as a student, you have to be conversant with the factors that will determine price elasticity of demand for a commodity. Once you get these factors, they will be the ones to drive the elasticity or elastic, and a consumer must be very careful with these factors. Even the producer, even the government, these are factors that play within the economy. If you don't watch them well, you make a decision either to increase the price or to reduce it when actually you don't know the nature of elasticity that may come up if you did that, or if you reduced or increased. Our next subtopic, still under price elasticity of demand, is the practical application of price elasticity of demand. Practical application of price elasticity of demand. Why are we studying price elasticity of demand? Of what importance is the price elasticity of demand? There is a difference between determinants. What determines, that is different from what determines is what factors will bring, will you have in mind as determinants of price elasticity of demand, whether the commodity is going to have elastic or inelastic. Now, we are looking at the practical application. How do we use this price elasticity of demand? When do you use it? And who uses it? That is very, very important. Practical application. We are looking at the way this price elasticity of demand is applied in a real life, in a practical life. What do we use it for? The first one that we have said, there's this price elasticity of demand is very, very important in different categories of people. It is very, very important to different categories of people when they are making decisions. When they are making decisions in their day-to-day running of business or in their day-to-day consumption of different commodities. So the sellers, government, producers, and even consumers, all these practically use the price elasticity of demand. All these, they practically use the price elasticity of demand. These four categories, that is sellers, we have government, producers. Sometimes students get confused with the difference between sellers and producers. Producers are manufacturers who engage in the real production of the commodities, whereas sellers are businessmen. They buy, bring in their premises and sell to the consumers. They may not necessarily be producers, although the producers can as well be sellers, but not necessarily that every seller is a producer. You may be just selling but not producing. All these must practically look at the importance, the practical application of this price elasticity of demand. If they don't look at the price elasticity of demand, their production, their selling, their policies may not work as they may wish. So these ones practically use the price elasticity of demand. And we are going to look at the first one is pricing. Pricing of commodities with the purpose of raising revenue. So pricing to raise revenue. That's where we use it. One way we use price elasticity of demand is when we are pricing commodities. That whenever you are pricing these commodities, and this is when, who uses this? Mainly sellers, producers, or government. They are going to see what do they want. What is your aim? My aim is to raise revenue, to increase revenue from what I've been getting from my sales, and I get more. That is one way of looking at price elasticity of demand. And how do we do it? This is done in respect of the nature of the commodity. What is your aim as a producer? We have two ways. We have actually three ways. We have when the commodity is elastic, and you have when the commodity is inelastic. So, if you want to raise revenue, how do you price your commodities? That is very, very important. How do you raise your prices? Your aim is to gain more revenue. Now, what do? We are going to introduce here two terminologies. We have what we call sales maximization and profit maximization. Both of these lead to high revenue, lead to high revenue, lead to high revenue. Both lead to high revenue. That's what you are going to see. Both of these, sales maximization and the profit maximization. Now, when you are pricing the commodities, we expect you to look at your purpose. Are you interested in increasing revenue? Yes. You can do this to increase revenue. You can do either of the two. Either you maximize the sales or you maximize the profits. How do you do this? It takes you to the price elasticity of demand. And we are going to look at first how you use profit maximization. Profit maximization here, we shall look at it in details when we come to market structures, monopoly, perfect competition, and so on. But here, we are saying, if your aim is to profit maximize so as to have more revenue, then you increase the price of commodities which have inelastic demand. That's what you have to know. Your aim is is to revenue. First of all, your aim is to have high revenue from what you have been getting. And you want to do this through profit maximization. How do you achieve this through profit maximization? You do this by increasing the price of commodities which have inelastic demand. That's when you are going to have high profits, high revenue. If you make a mistake and look at profit maximization with commodities that have elastic demand, you have failed the business. So you, the seller, you must identify and know that this product has inelastic demand. Because it has inelastic demand, I should emphasize profit maximization. And here we can have a diagram. To illustrate what we are saying. This is the demand curve, which is inelastic, like we saw. We saw these elasticities. Don't forget to label the axis. Here it is the price. And we are going to have figures. We are going to put figures under this. We are going to look at the figures. The figures that we have. This is 1,000. This is 500. The output that was sold, the output which was sold when it was 500 shillings. If you look at the output that was sold was, when it was 500, it was 90. Let us call this as kilogram of sugar. This, we can put it here to be very precise. Quantity, kilograms for sugar. These are kilograms. So we have 90 kilograms. But now, as the demand law states, the higher the price, the lower the demand. So the moment you increase the price from 500 to 1,000, here we indicate that it has changed to 85, a reduction of only 5. Why is it only 5? Because the demand is inelastic. And so you have now maximized the profits. Why? You have moved away from 500 to 1,000, possibly without even any change in the cost of production. But now you are going to get more revenue. So if we go mathematical, we look at this. Initial sales. Initial sales were what? Initial sales were 500 shillings times 90 kilograms. And the revenue here was 45,000. That is the revenue which a seller was getting. After increasing the price, there was a reduction in the quantity that was sold, but the price went 1,000. Now, new sales is 1,000 shillings times 85 kilograms. And the revenue here, which we have got, is 85,000. So this person has increased the revenue, has raised more revenue. We said you are pricing to raise revenue, to get more revenue. Now you are getting 45. Now after increasing, you are getting 85. So an increase an increase of 40,000. So this seller has increased has increased the revenue by 40,000 through what? Profit maximization. This is a profit maximization. He has increased it not by selling more, but by charging more. By charging more, that means you are now increasing the profit margin. The profit margin, just to make an assumption, let us assume that the cost of producing this was 400, meaning the net profit on this product at this price was 100. You wake up one morning, you say it is 500. That means you have now increased the profits from 100 shillings to 600 shillings. How do we get the 600? We have assumed that the cost of producing this output, each unit, is 500 shillings, is 400 shillings. At this point, you are selling at 500 and getting a profit of 100 shillings. By increasing the price, whose cost of production has remained 400, the profit level has increased by 600. That means you have maximized the profits by charging a higher price. Yes, the output you are selling has reduced. That is true. But the revenue that you have got from even the reduced output you are selling is higher than what you have been getting. And this is what we are saying, that pricing when your aim is to raise revenue. And how do you do this? You do it by increasing the price for the commodities that have inelastic demand. And you do that to have profit maximization. Profit maximization means your aim is to earn higher profit on a commodity without looking at the sales. Here the sales have reduced, but the profits per unit has increased. At the end of the day, you are raising more revenue. So that's one way. Practically, that's where we apply the price elasticity of demand. We look at the commodities. So if you are a seller or a producer, you must look at the price elasticity of demand for your commodity. And then you decide, with this nature of elasticity, what do I do? No, my commodity has inelastic demand. Therefore, I can raise more revenue by increasing the price. And that will be profit maximization. That's what it is. Now, another way we can do that is raising revenue, is by looking at commodities. What do you do with the commodities that have elastic demand? If you have elastic demand, you don't look at profit maximization. Instead, you look at sales maximization. And this is the diagram that we are going to have. This is the diagram which you are going to have. Price. This is the quantity. Still in kilograms, whatever commodity, sugar, whatever. And then you see here, what you have to do is to increase the sales. That's what we call sales maximization. So this is the price, and then you reduce the price slightly. When you reduce the price, this is demand, this is demand. When you reduce the price, you reduce it slightly. I will still use the figures. Let us have 1,000 here and have 900 here. 1,000 here as price. What is the change in quantity? The change in quantity is we have been having 60 kilograms, 40 kilograms, and after reducing the price by only 100 shillings, we are seeing the demand increasing from 40 to 60. From 40 to 60 by reducing by only 100 shillings. So what are you aiming at? You are aiming at sales maximization so as to raise more revenue. And if we go by the figures that we have, if we go by the figures which we have, you are going to see the calculation that at first this man was, that is the initial sales were 40 kilograms times 1,000, which was giving this man 40,000 shillings. After reducing the price by only 100 shillings, this man increased the sales to 60. So, new sales is 60 kilograms times 900 shillings, which is going to give this person 54,000. Increase in revenue. Increase in revenue. Increase in revenue. Increase in revenue is going to be 14,000. So initially he was getting 40. He went to 54, an increase of 14,000. How has he achieved this? Through what we call sales maximization. This is sales maximization. With inelastic demand, it is profit maximization. This one, you sell more and get more profit. So this man, when he's pricing his commodities, when you are pricing your commodities, you look at the elasticity of demand. If it is inelastic, look at profit maximization. Increase prices for that commodity. If the commodity has elastic demand, reduce the price. You sell more and get the commodity. You get the price. The revenue. You increase the revenue. So the seller, the producer, will look at the price elasticity of demand and it decides that let me now price accordingly. And that's why I've said the first point is pricing to raise revenue. If you know that your commodity you are selling has unitary elasticity, if it has unitary elasticity, please don't increase the price. There's no profit maximization, there's no sales maximization, because a percentage change in price leads to equal percentage change in the quantity demanded, and the total revenue will not change. It will remain the same. So with that one, you don't need to change the price. Why? Because it is unitary elasticity. With unitary elasticity, you don't change. With the inelastic, you increase the price. That is profit maximization. With unitary, you don't. And I think it may be important, not maybe, but it's important that we look at the unitary, a diagram for unitary. We are still looking at pricing. We are still looking at pricing of the commodities. the pricing of the commodities. A moment. Pricing of the commodities to raise more revenue. So we are saying if it is unitary, and this is the example which we normally give. You see the change here is equal almost to the change here. So if we put their figures, this is demand, quantity, still kilograms, this is the price. And what do we have here as figures? We have 1,000 and we have 800. These are shillings. And the quantity that is demanded is 500 and then 40. Sorry, not 500. It is 50 and 40. We have 40 here and we have 50 here. If you go by our mathematics, when you are selling 1,000, you get 1,000 times 40, which will give you 40,000. You reduce to 800, and actually the quantity demanded increases to 50. So it is going to be 800 times 50 shillings. This one will give you this, and this one will still give you 40,000. So at the end of the day, change or increase in revenue, none. No change. Why? It is unitary elasticity. Unitary elasticity. With unitary elasticity, the seller, the government, the producer will know that there is no gain. So unless your aim is to finish what you are selling without changing revenue, that is okay. But if you are still going by that one, that practically you are using the price elasticity of demand to raise more revenue by pricing, unitary does not give you any change in your revenue. So the producer will know that the product I'm producing has unitary elasticity. Therefore, I don't need to make any change in the price because it does not really make me earn more. But with elastic demand, reduce the price slightly, increase the sales, and get higher revenue. With inelastic, don't increase the sales. Don't lower the price. Instead, increase the price and maximize the profits and get more revenue. So, when we meet next, we are going to, for our next lesson, we are going to be looking at the taxation as the second way how we can practically apply price elasticity of demand. So number 2 is going to be taxation. The other one was number 1, and that one was the pricing to raise the revenue. So number 2 is going to be taxation. It's going to be taxation. That's what we are going to have.